How about now?
Testing.
Okay. I think we'll be good. We make sure it's rolling on the other channel. Isn't this exciting?
This is exciting.
You're not excited. Yeah. So it's me, Tom, here with Mike.
Yeah.
And we are going to do audio commentary for the movie Stroszek, which is a movie that Mike turned me on to 7 years ago, probably. It was one of the...
Yeah, around there.
That was the first moment in the show that I was like, what's this guy talking about? Because you were like, it's funny. And it is funny, but it's a very dark movie that has moments of humor out of the sadness.
Yes, true.
Like you were not wrong. It's a funny movie, but it's not the first thing I would say about this movie is that it was funny.
Okay. That's a fair assessment.
So what we're going to do is we have the DVD queued up.
Yeah, can I just say that I recommend that the listeners watch on a large screen. We're watching on a
laptop.
Laptop.
Yeah, I guess we're also recording this on December 9th, the night before the second to last best show.
Yeah.
So I guess now we can say it's like you'd think there'd be some sort of basic monitor in this place, because Mike at first was like, he's like, where is there no monitor here? And I'm like, at first I was like, come on, Mike, what are you, Mr. Fancy Pants? Oh, no. And then I thought about it, I'm like,
where's the flat screen?
I'm like, yeah, those things are $300 now, like a basic flat screen. It's $300. You were not wrong, Mike.
Okay.
So this is how we're doing it. We have the movie queued up. We have the DVD. Let's wake it up here. Oh boy, this is such bad. This is so boring.
I recommend doing a little pre-gaming before the movie.
Okay, Mike.
To get you in the mood. If you are drinking from bottles, and you can tear off the cap with your teeth, that could also get you in the mood, as we'll see in a bit.
Yes, Mike is... okay, so we're just going to go to the menu here. All right, we have the menu for the movie up now. Let's see. So you get the menu up, then we will start the countdown. I'm going to say... Can you hear that?
Yeah, we need a little volume.
Yeah, well, we can go closer with that.
Okay.
Can you see that?
I can see it.
Some piece of wood. I just cut myself. I'm glad you think it's so funny.
Well, it's in the mood.
Yeah, it was very Stroszek of you to laugh at me getting hurt. Yeah, it's a comedy.
There's nothing, as Samuel Beckett once put it, there's nothing funnier than human suffering.
All right, Mike. This movie's 2 hours long. You're going to have plenty of chances to get those zingers in.
No, actually, it's a compact, it's a little over an hour and a half.
Okay,
yeah.
Good. All right.
I like those.
So, the titles, the main menu is up. This is one of those DVDs that where it would be like features. Main menu. You ever see that on the back of DVD boxes? Features. Main menu. Oh, wow, you have a main menu on it.
Yeah. I'm always glad when they have those.
Yeah. So, I'm going to say, we're going to count down to us starting the movie. So you should be looking at it. When I say play, then you hit play. On the count of, we're going to count 5 to 0. I'm already making this way too complicated. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Hit play. Right.
Where are we? It's a famous prison scene.
Okay.
Bruno's getting out of jail.
Bruno S., the actor
Bruno S., yeah.
who is Stroszek. 1976,
It was a good year.
was it?
Bicentennial.
Yes. We celebrated America. There's some commentary. This is going to be something else.
Get ready, Tom.
You get it.
I've got my index cards here.
Oh, I was hoping it was too dark in here for you to. Okay.
Okay, they're getting Bruno's stuff. He's getting out.
And what is this? An Austrian prison? Where is he?
He's in Germany.
Germany.
Berlin.
Berlin. Okay.
Yes. To be exact.
Okay.
When's the last time you watched this, Tom? Has it been a while?
I watched it when you lent me your Netflix copy. When Netflix was primarily a DVD service. When it would show up, you were like, "Here's this DVD. Check it out. It's funny." And I went home and watched it. And then I was like, "Okay, there's more than meets the eye with this guy who's screening calls with me now. I'm going to want to talk more to this guy and figure out why he thought this was funny."
Uh-huh.
So we're looking at, so that's the last time I saw it. And I had your DVD at that point. I contemplated throwing it in the trash instead of mailing it back.
Uh-huh.
But I mailed it back.
Bruno's going to get his bugle and his accordion back.
Okay.
I don't think there are too many prisoners who, bring those items with them as they're going into jail.
Yeah. Now this guy Bruno S. is the guy who's playing Stroszek.
Yes. He had a hard life in real life.
Mm-hmm.
He lived in institutions, and it sort of had its effect on his personality, which you kind of see. He's not really acting in this movie, I wouldn't say,
Yeah.
He kind of does what he does. I mean, this is the same person who did the Mike Show clip as on the Best Show from that German fan who got him to record it shortly before he died. There's the bugle, yeah.
He just tested out his 4-horn bugle.
Yeah.
And, so, because a while ago, before Bruno S. passed away, because he did die a few years ago, right?
Yes.
A listener in Germany saw him and asked him, once Stroszek was something we talked about a lot on the show, and your love of Stroszek.
Yeah.
He got Bruno S. to say, "Welcome to the Mike Show."
Yes.
Which was like, "Welcome to the Mike Show." And it was very exciting.
Oh, I couldn't believe it when I heard it. I didn't even realize what it was. I think, it took me a while before it dawned on me what I was hearing.
Wasn't that one of those moments? For me, that was one of those moments where I was like, man, this show is like, I know it's not a big thing in the scheme of things.
Yeah.
It's like where Bruno S. is not a super famous guy. But it just felt more that a listener went and made that happen.
Yeah.
That the show felt more kind of bigger in a strange way. Like,
yeah, universal.
Yeah. Like over in Germany, some guy is finding Bruno S. and getting him to record an intro to your show, the Mike Show, which was a subset. At that point,
yes, it was
like a little corner of the Best Show.
Corner of the Best Show, yeah.
You would do 20-minute show.
Shtick. Now we're in the prison cell with Bruno, and they're looking at what he calls the TV, which is a bowl of water, which they can see down in the yard, some shadows. This is one of my favorite moments. He's, one of his cellmates makes very tiny boats that he folds. Origami, I assume it is.
Mm-hmm. And
he's giving Bruno as a gift one of his smallest ships. to take home with him. So small he has to use the pin to pick it up. But this I really like this prison cellmate.
Who are those guys on the wall in the back? Is that Gunsmoke?
No, Bonanza.
Bonanza.
I think I had the same poster when I was a kid.
Hold on, wait.
I was a big fan.
You had a Bonanza poster?
I think I did. Here we go. No, I don't want to interrupt this, though. He just lit a fart, which, I've never seen anybody do that in real life. But in this instance, it was pretty spectacular, I have to say. I mean, he got some good blowout there. I always assume when people talked about lighting a fart that, there wasn't much to it, But I guess with some people.
Well, look, you're going to have a lot of time to figure that out once the show ends.
You can get an effect.
After December 18th, Mike, you're gonna have all the time in the world to figure out. I hope you spend December 24th, Christmas Eve. You'd normally be sitting working the phones. Now you can go figure out how to light a fart.
I can figure this stuff out, yeah. I'm going to have a little more free time.
So he's getting told this is kind of the exit process.
And a little advice from the warden.
Now, do we know why he was in prison?
Yeah, they don't really tell you why. But from his advice, which we're going to see shortly, it's that drinking got him into trouble.
Yeah.
And the warden advises him to lay off the beer.
And this guy, Bruno S., is really... I mean, you can tell he's not an actor in the way that... But I think that's... But that you can see why Werner Herzog, why he appealed to him, because this guy's got so much chemistry, and he's very magnetic.
He's a unique personality, yes.
Like, your eye definitely... Just watching him is...
I like when he goes off on these little rants. And he doesn't really look at the other people while he's talking. He is sort of in his own little world.
Mm-hmm. I guess we can assume that Stroszek has been in and out of jail. That this is not the first time this official has met Stroszek.
Exactly.
All right, he's going to give him some good advice.
Order a cup of coffee and a piece of pie when you go into a bar.
Can you imagine getting pie? What kind of pie would they sell at masses?
Yeah, well, no. I mean, there was a time when they sold food at masses, but I don't believe they've ever had pie.
Was the food being sold there a matter of...
I don't even think it was sold at masses. It was just sort of, it was, there to entice people to come in. Pasta fazool. I remember getting a bowl of pasta fazool one time when I was in there.
Wow, so they had actual...
Oh yeah, there is an oven downstairs in the basement, and they can cook stuff.
So this is actual, because I was thinking, a lot of times you go to a bar and they have a fryer and it's French fries.
Yeah.
Or mozzarella sticks.
Yeah, grilled stuff.
Anything that they can just drop into that fryer, into the oil.
Yeah.
And then pull out. You don't picture something like pasta fazool being something that a place that isn't like a restaurant.
Right, exactly.
Because Masses is definitely a drinker's bar.
It is, yes.
So that's why I'm saying it's picturing them serving an actual menu item like that.
Yeah.
That's not just an app.
No. And speaking of Masses, Bruno, his first stop out of prison, I guess this is Berlin's version of Masses.
Which is Beer Himmel. So he goes in right after the advice of getting a cup of coffee and a piece of pie.
Yeah.
He just ordered a beer within one block.
It's what you call good editing,
Yeah.
And here we meet the villains. Now, these pimps are actually very scary. I don't know if you know this, Tom, but on the commentary for this, Herzog says that these were actual, real sort of street pimps.
Yeah.
They weren't actors.
I've played that pinball machine,
Oh,
by
have
the
you?
way. Space
Really? You
Mission.
recognize it? Okay.
Sure.
Oh, wow.
That's a mainstay at the Silver Ball
Is it?
Museum.
Oh, okay.
Have you been down there?
I haven't been in there. I have to get there.
Look, we'll
Yeah.
have plenty of time now. Now that the show's over,
Yeah.
Tuesday nights. What about this?
Uh-huh.
What if an early Tuesday,
Uh-huh.
we have a meetup there,
Oh, that would be nice.
and we just tell people
Yeah.
early January, come on down.
Yeah.
Me and Mike are going to be hanging out at the Silver Ball Museum,
That would be fun.
and we'll go do that, and then we'll see who shows up. What
Yeah.
if no one shows up, and everyone just forgets the show so fast?
No, I think there's going to be so many people in there that you were going to tick off the owner yet again.
That owner, man. I went in there.
You can't win any favors from.
No, I went in there. 3 days ago. I've been there,
Yeah.
and I see the guy there, and I say to him, "Hey." He's like, "Hey." This guy,
He's not very.
he gives me more to, like, I think he thinks I'm sucking up to him in some way. It's like,
Yeah.
it drives me nuts.
Uh-huh.
This pinball, I can't get any respect at this place. I mean, how many people have I sent there, do you think? Dozens of
Yes,
people
many
have
people.
gone there.
Many people.
Dozens of people have gone to there specifically because they learned about it from the radio show.
Uh-huh. Here's a good line, Tom. Cry more and piss less.
Okay.
One of the pimps just said to Ava, who I love Ava. Or Eva. Mm-hmm. That's the way the bird calls her. Now, which pimp is scarier? The one with the mustache?
I'm going to say...
and the fur coat.
I'm going to say he's scarier.
Yeah, he is a scary dude.
Because he's blending into the fur coat, kind of like... It's like he looks like an actual... Like a shaved... Like right? Doesn't he look like a shaved Sasquatch? Like, because he's got the fur coat and the long hair and the mustache. It's like they just shaved away the hair on his face.
I never thought about that. It does look like it's... Yeah, I never thought about it. I just thought it was like a ballsy move for a man to wear a fur coat. You know, a lot of pimps, you know, that's the way they sort of...
Well, back in the 70s, there were a lot of fur coats in the 70s.
Yeah. Oh, poor Ava. Oh, one of the pimps just hit her. I don't like that.
She landed on the space mission.
I don't like that.
Oh, you don't like... Wait, let's get this...
Yeah. Okay. I didn't think that was funny, Tom.
Let me just get this straight. You didn't like the fact
No.
that this one dude just punched the woman in the face.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. I did not think that was funny, Tom.
No, it's not. Of course it's not funny. And now Ava goes and sits down with Stroszek.
Yeah, he's going to console her.
He's comforting her. And this is kind of the beginning of this kind of family unit. That
Yes, that forms and an odyssey begins.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
What if we did Stroszek 2, Back to Germany, and you play Stroszek? I already pitched you the idea of playing. Remember, I pitched you Naked 2,
right?
Which would be that the
Naked
leather jacket shows up. That
Naked 2.
That David.
Port-of-call Bayonne.
What was his name again? David Thewlis?
Yeah, that's the actor. Yeah.
Yeah, when he wore that leather jacket in Naked.
I thought it was an overcoat.
It was like that but it was like it was an overcoat, not a leather jacket. But that's that jacket was as scary as. But that's that thing about clothing in movies, where sometimes a piece of clothing, like that fur coat we just saw,
Yeah.
that informed as much of what you thought about that guy as anything.
True. What's the most ostentatious piece of clothing you've ever owned, Tom? I take it you've never owned a fur coat.
No.
No.
I'm not much of a flashy dresser.
Hold on, Tom.
Okay.
I like
We're
this
gonna
scene.
see.
Ava's got a rockin' body. Wouldn't you agree? That is a rockin' bod.
You know that this is just.
Come on, Tom.
This is you. This is just.
She's got a very nice silk skirt on, and it's very shiny.
Look, she's very pretty.
Gives off a sheen.
Yeah.
You know, you don't see a lot of women wearing the silk skirts, though.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's...
Well, in Stroszek 2, you'll see plenty of it. We'll get the woman who played Ava back in it. You play Stroszek. It turns out Stroszek fathered a child when he came to Wisconsin. Was it
Okay.
Wisconsin?
Yeah, yeah.
And you are that child.
Okay.
Stroszek Jr.
Stroszek Jr.
Little Stroszek
Little Stroszek.
is what we're going to call you. So now Stroszek he just played it calliope, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Now he's sitting at an actual piano, like a grand piano.
He's musically gifted. So we're going to see this side of him in the next few scenes. And Ava is I guess she's taking a break from the pimps. I guess it's a little bit of a, she gets a little bit of peace and quiet for a little while.
She just made Stroszek some coffee.
Yeah.
And now they're talking about what he wanted in the coffee.
Yeah, what happens to instruments when people move on? That's a good question.
Yeah.
They get sold off. Family that doesn't play them. You know, hawk them.
It's like a Toy Story. You know that's what Toy Story is about, right?
This is a sad admission. I've never seen Toy Story.
Have you ever seen any of the Toy Story movies?
Not one. I know.
I've seen the first two.
Okay.
I can't bring myself to watch the third one
that
because
the
people said it's the saddest
The
one.
saddest one.
Because it's just about that same thing of like it's about childhood
Yeah.
and just
And when it
moving
ends,
on.
Yeah.
I can't watch that third one. I'm going to be bawling my eyes out.
What about the one with the old guy who goes up in the balloon?
You mean Up?
I hear that one is tragic.
Yeah, that one's basically.
Oh, here's Mr. Scheitz and his bird. Good boy, Bio.
Stroszek just answered the door, and now there's an old man holding a bird cage.
You know that in the credits, Good Boy Bio, his real name is Der Brave Bio. Der. German must be a fun language. Mm-hmm. You know, how do they stop from laughing when the word for the is der?
How do they stop from laughing when
Because everybody's just going der, der, der,
you?
der,
You.
over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would have a hard time containing myself. Now, Mr. Scheitz has some unique theories about things. Mr. Scheitz has planned a trip to the U.S. And Ava is trying to get the bird to say her name.
Mm-hmm.
But she's saying somebody else's name. Or he's saying. Bio, is that a male name or a girl's name? I do not know. Bio. You brought snacks?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Okay.
Just a cookie, Mike.
Oh, okay. I should have brought popcorn. So now Bruno's going to one of the local places where he plays his music.
Mm-hmm.
A courtyard in a dimly lit tenement.
Now, was that actually based on the actual Bruno S? Was he a musician?
Yes, I think that is sort of, I think Herzog did sort of take certain things from his real life and sort of incorporate him in the story.
And how did Herzog meet Bruno S? Just being around Germany? Do you know?
Yeah, no, I can't remember where exactly he met him. I didn't watch the commentary. I should have before this. It's been a while. He's got his glockenspiel.
Mm-hmm.
His accordion. He does have a few people listening. It wasn't like he was playing to nobody. A few people will stick their heads out of windows. He's playing in front of a row of garbage cans, which is always, I guess, ideal for a musician.
Yeah. And naturally, he's playing this glockenspiel and accordion, and it sounds like. I mean, it's. He knows what he's doing. He clearly is a musician, but it just sounds like. It seems like Tom Waits could have seen Stroszek and said, "That's what I want to do." And I don't even. And I'm not putting
Yeah.
the movie down
Yeah.
or what he's doing in the movie.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it has that feel, doesn't it?
Yeah,
That,
no. I mean, I think Tom Waits started a little before this.
But the Tom Waits that we know, the Tom Waits that became Tom Waits.
The evolved.
Yeah.
At this time, he was sort of doing like the jazzy folk singer stuff.
Yeah.
But then he just became a what would you call him now?
Stroszek.
Stroszek.
He became
He
Stroszek.
became Stroszek.
I think there's a case to be made. 76.
Yeah.
You don't think he could have seen this and been influenced by it?
Oh no, I'm sure he's seen it. I'm sure this is maybe one of his favorite movies.
Mm-hmm.
It's in his wheelhouse, as they say.
Yeah.
What was the first Frank's
Wild Years?
Frank's Wild Years was sort of the turning point, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, that was sort of a turning point, I think, where he was less folky and just a little more, weird and singing to the gutter.
Yeah. Now, what movie made you cry more than any other movie? Like, is there a movie that makes you cry?
What movie makes me cry?
Yeah, we were talking about movies making you sad.
Uh-huh.
Is there a movie that really lays you out?
I've talked about it. The Tree of Life was pretty moving. And actually, at the end of that movie, I wasn't like sobbing uncontrollably during that movie. There were some things that were really emotionally getting to me. But at the end of that movie, a woman was like a wreck.
In the theater?
In the theater, yeah, that I saw it at. And I could understand what it was. And it was, speaking of this, a poor kid here, he's crying, he's got his back to the... This was a real reaction. He was upset here there. But anyway, yeah, this woman was really... That movie may have traumatized her for all I know. But I had to flee the theater. I couldn't take it anymore.
But you did get emotional.
Oh, yeah, that movie is... Yeah, there's...
That's a great movie.
Yeah, it is.
And it's also the kind of movie that if people are going to try it, you have to hand yourself over to it completely and it also has to be the kind of thing. There's so many people now, you know about this whole second screen thing where people are like watching something, but then they're still looking at their laptop or doing whatever. It's like that movie won't work you do any.
I can't even imagine doing that.
Well, you come from a different.
Yeah, I'm not.
You're not
multitasking.
Yeah.
Gadget addicted.
But there are people who are totally. They have 3 screens going.
I know, really.
If they have the screen playing the movie and they have their laptop going, and then if they look at a phone during it, that's 3.
They don't get shouted down by other people in the audience. I mean, they tell you.
No, I'm saying at home. I'm saying at home.
Oh, at home.
Because.
Oh, the pimps are back.
Okay, so now Stroszek is walking down the steps, and this one pimp is here who looks kind of like. He looks like a German version of like who? Like
I don't know. He looks like a rock and roller. I mean,
like a German Joe Walsh?
Maybe. Okay, yeah.
Like an evil German Joe Walsh.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he looks like he could be a rock star. The other guy just looks sort of...
He looks like, what's his face from Animal House? Brett, like Marmalade.
Uh-huh, okay.
The one frat.
Yeah, yeah. And Ava's back with the pimps.
Yeah, because they were looking for... They wanted to know where she went.
Yeah. And she's still under their power.
So you said these are actual pimps?
Yeah.
That got a part.
Yeah, these aren't actors.
I mean, this guy... when you think of what Herzog... And look, for me, Herzog, I don't like everything I see that he does. I don't think anybody could.
No.
But
He's all over the place.
that's what makes that's the beauty of his
Yeah.
filmography.
You don't know where he's going next.
Yeah. And that he can go from doing that. I didn't see the 3D cave.
It was okay. Ooh.
Yeah, we're not gonna.
The C word.
Yeah.
A word still has its power. Few words have power like that. Wouldn't you agree, though, that word still has its power?
How long did you wait to tee that one up? You said it so. You said it. Did you practice that
No,
line?
I did not practice it.
Well, I got to say one thing then. You're a great actor because you said that if you didn't practice that all day today, you saying few words still have power. You said that so convincingly.
By practice, I have to say it aloud?
No, look, you're allowed.
I didn't say it aloud.
It was a thought you had.
I don't talk to myself when I'm in my apartment. Oh, poor Stroszek. His zipper's wide open. He's oblivious.
Stroszek kind of looks like Rocky Erickson a little bit. Like a young Rocky Erickson.
Yeah.
Like a 13th floor elevators era.
The hairstyle is definitely...
Doesn't have the beard yet. Pre-beard. Rocky. But, yeah, some words still do have power. No, I'll talk about that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That one is still powerful.
Yes. That word, the C word, still on the do not use list in any context.
I haven't cursed once yet. Are we allowed to curse on this?
Look, I'm not going to.
Okay.
You can.
All right. I'll try and refrain from that.
If it fits, you can curse. I mean, look, you show the same restraint you always show. You're not you don't curse.
No, I don't.
You've never been a threat on the air in terms of all the years. I
do know how to control my
absolutely
language.
And that's, in all honesty, that's not an easy thing.
Yeah.
You see who comes through and who people just get too comfortable.
Yeah.
And then they forget where they are.
I like to save my curse words for when they'll be meaningful. Mm-hmm. And then they sort of have power because I'm not a habitual cursor.
Yeah.
And then once I'm cursing, people are like, they don't know what's going on.
They're thrown by.
What's going on?
Well, that's how it is for me.
Yeah. You like to save it.
Save it. Well, if I do it, it can also be done to be really funny too. The idea of all of a sudden I start muttering nonstop curses. I'll do it before the show sometimes for effect. I'll just curse and stuff and complain about stuff. And it's kind of funny, right?
Yeah,
when all of a sudden I'm mumbling.
Yeah.
So now the old man is playing the piano.
Mr. Scheitz.
Yeah.
Which is, I guess, as close as we're going to get to cursing in this. It's in the neighborhood of another word.
Yes.
Uh-oh. The pimps are back. Oh, poor Eva. Oh, I don't like this at all. No.
Hey, guys, again, just to make it clear, Mike does not like this woman being dragged up the stairs by her hair.
Yeah.
And the one guy says, come on, show us your garbage dump.
I do not condone this.
For her house.
And called her a profanity. Another profanity. I do not like this. Now, there's something scary coming up here I want to bring to your attention, Tom.
Okay.
I watched this a little the other day.
Oh.
Yeah.
She's laying on the floor, beat up. Now they just emptied the content. The guy just dragged the contents of a table on top of her.
Watch what happens here. Oh, he just missed her head.
Throwing an actual accordion.
Yeah, they broke the accordion, and one of them slammed it down, and it just misses her head. Now they start doing something with bells, which I don't quite understand. We're going to see that again soon. The scariest looking pimp likes to put bells on his victims. Curious.
For little Stroszek, what kind of villain should we have?
Well, yeah. I don't know if we want pimps again. Pimps are always good as villains.
Mm-hmm.
hard to.
Because you should go back to Germany in it, right?
Maybe we find the children of the pimps in Stroszek.
And then that's who you square off
They've
against.
grown up to be pimps. It's the offspring.
I picture it's you with the tic-tac-toe chicken under your arm like the Coen Brothers movie. Did you see that movie yet?
Which one?
The new one?
No, not yet. No.
I can't wait to see
Oh,
it.
it's got a chicken. I thought it was a cat.
It's a cat, but that'll be your.
Okay.
But you'll have the chicken.
Okay.
That'll be your version of the cat.
I see. Now Stroszek is consoling Eva, who has a black eye. I think of Bruno S. as sort of an everyman in this movie. He has trouble with drinking. He has trouble with relationships. Let's just say I could relate very much to Bruno S. in this movie.
Oh my God. Now he's at a fruit stand.
Yeah.
He's buying fruit for Ava. 2 pounds of tangerines.
Oh no, there they are again.
Oh, these pimps. These guys are back.
They get around, don't they?
I gotta say that was a little cheap also. The camera just did one of those things where Stroszek didn't see them because the camera didn't reveal them yet. They were sitting 4 feet away. I doubt he could have not noticed them there.
Yeah.
You'd think Herzog would be above a cheap...
Well, it saves time, right? I mean, you know. You don't have to add scenes. And here they are. It's like they've got easy access to Bruno's apartment. And now the bell ringing. And he just missed Bruno with the big bell.
If it ain't our creepy piano player, what was it?
Creepy person?
In Creepy Person.
They brought a bottle. So he's pretty well tuned. Okay, now he's spinning Bruno around. He throws him on the piano. It's a weird sort of non-beating that he gets here. He gets spanked. He gets moved around again on the piano. Apparently there's a certain position one assumes on the piano.
Where's my whip? Kneel, you bastard.
Yeah.
That's what the subtitles just said.
When you're on top of a piano receiving a spanking from a pimp, you have to kneel. And there's an anti-Turkish remark. Now more with the bells, you know. Instead of whacking him with the bells,
he puts it on his head.
Puts it on his head.
And makes him sit still.
Yeah.
Now he's putting one on his
ass.
Yeah.
The one on his head fell. And that seems to have angered Scary Pimp. He puts it in a more secure position. And then he seems satisfied with this. Quick cut, yeah. Now where are we now?
I've never seen somebody use bells as a thing to keep you in. Don't move, or this bell will fall.
Very unusual. Speaking of unusual, this may be the weirdest scene in the whole movie. Like you didn't think, you know, there were enough weird scenes in this movie. This sort of comes out of the blue. He's friends with a doctor, apparently, in the pediatric ward.
When did you first see this movie, Mike?
I saw it literally, you know, from Netflix. I wish I had known about it earlier, but I had seen some of Herzog's movies before this one.
Mm-hmm. What was the first one you remember seeing?
Well, I think I saw Fitzcarraldo pretty early, and then Agira, Wrath of God. But yeah, I mean, he's got so many movies that, I never caught up with them, and they're not like something you would find easily at the video store. I sort of relied on the video store. I had Bravo. Remember the Bravo network when it was actually like sort of an art house movie station? I think that's where I saw Agira, Wrath of God, and I think they played a couple others. Fitzcarraldo, I'm pretty sure I rented from a video store. It was a surprise they even had it.
How about Burden of Dreams, the movie, the documentary about
the
making of Fitzcarraldo?
Yeah, no, I did see that shortly after it came out. But I had to catch up, so that's basically what I was doing with Netflix. I was catching up with all the Herzog movies I hadn't seen.
Mm-hmm.
Now the pediatric doctor is sort of just manhandling this little infant, showing that the grip is very strong. And that little bugger is holding on for dear life, crying.
Yeah, that is. Maybe this baby will even become president. You just said.
Yeah.
It's
possible. It's possible.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay. I'm glad the baby stopped crying.
Don't you feel like with these Herzog movies, I don't think this is a bad thing at all. I mean, there's such a loose spirit to them.
Yeah,
where you kind of use what you've got.
I think I think that he does sort of, I guess, have broad interests. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And then he sort of pursues those interests. In this period, it was he was taken with Bruno S. I think I've mentioned before The Mystery of Caspar Hauser, which is the other movie. Actually, The Mystery of Caspar Hauser preceded this movie, and is well worth seeing. That is a great movie too. But I think after that movie, Herzog went in and wrote a script specifically for Bruno S. And that's where Stroszek came from. Okay. But yeah, I mean, he's sort of, living his life, and things are happening to him, and then he sort of follows his interests and molds things into scripts.
Because with the bells, having those hand bells, that just seems like something that could have just been laying around. That gets worked into it.
Yeah, like, no, I'm sure. Yeah,
I'm just gonna pick something up and start doing something with it, and it just feels real, and there's.
I'm sure he, he's fairly loose as far as improvising and letting actors do their thing. I mean, let's face it, he had a run with Klaus Kinski. I mean, how much control do you think he had over that guy?
Well, have that guy, for it to be appealing to work with Klaus Kinski, it's
right.
You look, there's exciting things. Look, that's my favorite part about working on anything, is that where you don't know where things are going.
True. Yeah.
That's what we do every Tuesday night in a way.
Yeah.
We don't know where the show's going.
That's true.
That we're one phone call away from the show being some other thing.
Yeah.
I love that part of it.
It is. And even the few fill-in shows I've done where, I think I'm going to be able to control where the show goes, and then it goes off into an entirely different direction. That is exciting,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but it's dangerous, You're also in danger of boring everybody to death.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about the best show, is that, you don't know where it's going to go.
That's the one thing with the show that I feel what we've been doing is different than any of these other podcasts or anything. Because all of those things are so controlled.
Yeah.
And it's like, we go out to this place that you don't know what's going to happen.
Speaking of which, Ava is meeting with some potential clients.
Mm-hmm.
Another unpredictable career choice, I would think. Fucky fuck.
There you
go. 25. Oh, 50. These guys are being cheap.
Now they're going into a, what is this, a storage locker?
Yeah.
A cedar. What a weird building that was.
Eva has earned enough money to get him tickets on the ship out with Mr. Scheitz. They're going to America.
Because the goal is to start over again.
Yeah.
These kind of...
I think the immediate goal is to get rid of those pimps. Get out of range of those guys. Uh-huh.
Because they're too broken. They're too damaged people with pasts.
Yes.
That they can't shake. And now they're being presented with the chance to get a fresh start in America.
And Mr. Scheitz has a connection in America, a nephew, who's in Wisconsin, works in a garage.
And he's telling them where they can live when they get to America.
Yeah.
And Stroszek will have a job working at a garage lined up.
Now we're in America.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how that cruise was for them. Must have been a little different than some of the cruises I've been on.
Yeah. You've been on 4 cruises?
I've lost track. Yeah, a few. Yeah, a handful.
Do you feel like the most recent one was enough to hold you over for a while?
Yeah, I mean, I do have a limit of how long I can be on a cruise ship, and that is 7 days.
7 days?
Yeah.
Because you were on a 10-day cruise.
Yeah, the first one I did was a 10-day, and I knew from that point on that I would never do another one that long.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you're at the end of the cruise and you're playing bingo, you're looking forward to playing bingo. You know you've been on the ship too long.
What is a... Now they're in America, they're riding in a cab?
Yeah.
Tell me... And Bruno, Stroszek is now asking what kind of country this is. He's seeing America for the first time. They confiscated the bird.
Yeah, the bird had to go. He's not too happy with that.
Mm. Where is that now? What?
It looks like Manhattan.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what neighborhood that is. See if we can see a street sign there.
I'm sure it doesn't look that way anymore.
You know what movie is surprising for that? Is King of Marvin Gardens.
Yeah.
Is that the one in Atlantic City?
Yes.
Yeah. Where, if you see what Atlantic City looked like in the 70s,
yeah,
it's crazy. That boardwalk has been completely reimagined from what that was. That was pre-gambling.
But here's the kicker. Now with gambling online,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to go back.
Well, I would say with gambling...
the cycling is returning. I mean, some of the guys that come into Masses go
Mm-hmm.
down there and they say it's dying.
Well, you know what's killing it is online gambling is one thing.
Yeah.
The other thing is there's casinos everywhere now.
Yeah. Pennsylvania,
This is
New
Philadelphia.
York. Yeah, New York is getting a lot of money. Yeah.
I mean, Philly has a casino in town.
Right, okay.
Like,
yeah.
there's just a casino that's a part of Philadelphia.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
And right there, why would anybody go from Philly to Atlantic City
Well, they don't
if they
go.
could just stay in Philly? And that's, yeah. You can, if you talk to cab drivers, you get a feel for how a place is doing. And I've talked to cabbies in Atlantic City, and they're just, they are, like you said, it's dying.
Yeah.
They're just they wait.
All the guys in the casino, the people who work in the casinos are just, I think, They're saying they're all part-timers now. The number of tables open are just, a handful. Yeah, I think Atlantic City is going to revert to its past. History repeating itself.
No longer going to be, it's going to, because like it was flush for about 30 years there.
Yeah, yeah.
About 25 years where Atlantic City was just a money, it was like a
cash cow, yeah.
Yeah, like it just printed money.
Yeah, yeah. Except for Donald Trump, who
would still
was the only person who could run a casino into
bankruptcy. The only kind, and he would argue that if we said that to him, he would say he has those guys. You ever notice those guys with that bankruptcy? They always say like, "I didn't go bankrupt." Like they always have some version of the facts where they're just like the company declared. I didn't declare bankruptcy. The company did. It's like the facts are basically casinos. People come in and they hand you money, and you don't have to hand them anything back. There's no manufacturing going on.
Yeah.
They're handing you money, and the odds are tilted against people to win more money.
Right.
So
you think it'd be impossible to
lose money. And this guy still, and it's the worst food of any casino I've ever been in.
Yeah.
The buffet at Taj Mahal, at Trump, the Trump Taj Mahal was like eating a hospital food. It was like hospital pizza. Bowling alley pizza. That's what I thought you were going to say. The food at Massive was going to be like hamburgers, grilled cheese sandwiches, French fries, like that kind of bar food. That's also the stuff that they serve at like a pizzeria, not a pizzeria, at like a bowling alley or stuff that doesn't take many ingredients. And
actually, I think my uncle's mother, who was a great cook, she would just occasionally make food for the bar. And it was, if you were lucky enough to be in there when she brought something down.
That's what.
Yeah, you lucked out,
So now they're in Wisconsin, right? Wisconsin?
Yeah, Wisconsin with Mr. Scheitz's nephew. He's a unique character.
He is kind of a, what's he have going on? Like a little bit of an Ed Harris feel, right? Is that just because he has a receding hairline?
A furl, I think a more furl Ed Harris.
Yes, that is like, that guy would evolve into Ed Harris.
Somebody maybe from the movie Out of the Furnace. Have you seen it yet?
Did you see it?
No. I'm curious about it though. Let's say that.
It takes place in Jersey?
Yeah, and apparently the community is up in arms that it was being mocked in this movie.
What community?
Like, very, I want to say Mahwah, but it's not Mahwah. It's like very north, like right on the border.
Okay.
I can't think of the town name. But, I actually saw a story on the news that the people are upset with the depiction in that movie. Yeah. Now we're seeing beautiful Wisconsin. And it doesn't look that beautiful.
No, it's pretty desolate.
Train yards.
Yeah.
And
you see how he just films it just enough to get the story across?
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
you don't have to be fancy.
No, he's not fancy at all. That's very appealing. He's just filming whatever it takes so you see the action.
Bruno's already immersed in working in the garage.
He's now in a garage. There's an engine strapped to a kind of a lift, like a cable, and now him and this Ed Harris dude are him and Ferrell Ed Harris are taking the engine, and
These, you could say, are like the happy days of the movie. You know, things are starting to look brighter. The pimps are gone. He's working.
Now we believe there's 5. We had a farmer with his tractor. He went out on his field. He's got a monstrous tractor. He just disappeared. He's never come back to the farm or nothing.
Yeah.
We believe somebody has killed him. Every so often, police have been out. They've had clues of where he might be. They've tried.
I guess this happens a lot in the Midwest with
just killers.
stories of farmers that just up and disappear. This guy's mission now is to find a tractor in a pond that he thinks maybe is where the murder occurred. Some people have said that this movie is a sort of indictment of America. Did you feel that at all, really?
I think you can take it as definitely a kind of the underbelly of the American dream of kind of coming to America thinking it's going to just be prosperity and then getting chewed up and spit out.
Yeah.
That it's not always the promised land. I mean, if you look at the there's a giant American flag on the.
Yeah.
It's Stroszek holding an American flag on the cover of the DVD with an American flag.
I'm sure he was trying to get a little controversy going, stir up business. I don't know how well this did in the theater. I don't think it did big business.
But I don't think this movie was made with big business as the purpose. I think.
But why couldn't this story to me is as sort of, American as, say, one of my favorite movies, 5 Easy Pieces, which sort of covers similar themes. Just sort of working people and their existence. I guess 5 Easy Pieces came out before this one.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact year, but like maybe 72 or
something like that. Yeah.
But to me, they would make a nice double feature, Oil drillers. Yeah. Ed, is his name Ed? Just pulled his own tooth out.
Yeah. With a pair of pliers. Now they're all working in the garage. Everybody's happy.
He needs a beer. You pull your tooth, you have a beer.
Look, I think I would agree with you that there are these movies that kind of it's a valid thing as to question the plight of just regular people in America and how thin that line is between being on the right side and wrong side of what the American dream is.
Yeah, I think these movies really hit home now, where you're seeing the middle class get gutted.
Sure.
I think this is where we're headed, Bruno looks like he's drinking a Red Bull, but a Red Bull wasn't around back then.
So you think we're headed towards like the United Stroszek of America?
Yes. It's just going to be Trumps and Stroszeks.
No, this movie it's very dark because what feels dark about this movie to me is the pacing of it. It's that it's not just like a movie where all of a sudden everything falls apart in 5 minutes for them. I mean, you're watching everything fall apart for them step by step.
And I would have to say the first time I saw it, I didn't really read much about it. I had no idea where it was going. I mean, I guess I should have assumed that it was going to end tragically, but I didn't quite know. And, like each scene was sort of, surprising me in a certain way. Like I didn't know what was coming next. And there was I like this scene with the two feuding farmers who, get right up next to each other on their tractors just to tick each other off.
It's two guys driving tractors with attached to the back of the tractor is a
One guy's brandishing a rifle, which actually they're both brandishing rifles. Yeah, which makes sense. The Hatfields and the McCoys. Eva's got a little gig at the diner. She's happy here. She's ahead, of course, with the regulars. My sister worked in a diner and was miserable. She used to work the night shift when all the drunks came in
Bayonne.
No, this was down in Lakewood. And I would go with my mother to pick her up, and she would be in tears just about every night coming home from this diner, just having to deal with the drunks at this place.
What time was she coming home? In the morning?
Yeah, like late at night, 4 in the morning or something, real late.
In New Jersey, and this is what I don't know how much of a phenomenon this is in other places, but it seems like it's.
No, I mean it was unique to New Jersey. I did read something that unique. I don't know if the numbers are still as high as they once were, but New Jersey had the most diners in the country. It was like there was nobody even close to what New Jersey had.
And the bars close at 2.
Yeah.
And then the diners just fill up.
Yes.
And I was talking to a guy in a local diner, a guy behind the counter, and it was the night before Thanksgiving. He was talking about that night before Thanksgiving. He was just saying, he said, that's our busiest night of the year.
See, I refer to that day as the sexiest day of the year. But people are telling me it's dropping off. It used to be, the big drinking night, know. But I think it's sort of fallen off. I think the younger generation isn't really into it. I think, just from hearing the stories in masses about drinking lifestyles, I think younger people aren't really drinking that way. I'm sure there's happening bars that I don't go to where there are lots of young people drinking, but I think it's falling a little bit, which is probably a good thing.
And how are they drinking in your estimation?
No, I think they're still drinking. I just don't think the numbers are as high.
Okay. Do you also not think it's as much of a thing to go out to a place and drink?
That's the big thing. Driving and drinking, is really, you got to be careful with that. And I think that's definitely affected, the numbers of people who go out and drink and, at night. I mean, in some places down in Jersey, you have to drive. There's no way to get to places otherwise.
Yeah. So if you don't have a
designated driver,
then you're running the risk of getting a DUI.
Yeah.
But back in the 70s and 80s, there was a subculture of just drunk driving.
Yeah. No, you're
people
right.
don't think about now. It seems like it was 100 years ago, but there would be
you would even get, I've heard stories over and over again of police actually saying, you get a break, if you were only a block from your house, they would say,
just get home,
park the car and walk home,
okay.
That type of thing. But now it's, it is a big money maker too.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that.
That's why it was shocking in Eastbound and Down to see that he drove drunk.
Yeah.
For pretty much the entire series.
Yeah.
All the seasons, he always had a beer.
Well, that was part of his character.
Yeah. But just even that they didn't temper that at all.
No, well, they had to go all out. It would be wrong if they didn't take it. But now we're in the prefabricated house.
Yes.
So they've got a place to live. Everything is looking good.
Now it's so this is kind of their version of a family now, where it's Stroszek, Ava, the old man, feral Ed Harris, and who else was in there?
The assistant. That's Farrell Ed Harris's assistant in the garage.
And now Ava is listening to Stroszek play accordion while she washes dishes.
It's a very touching scene.
Yeah.
She's come a long way.
And she's holding her stomach.
Which may imply
Yeah, that she's with child.
that baby Mike is in there.
That could be you for little Stroszek.
This is an interesting scene.
The old man is outside at the fence.
He's testing the electrical outputs of wood, I take it. He's got his own theories.
Yeah, he's walking along from post to post. We're doing this in real time. We're doing this in Herzog time, which is a good thing. I'm in favor of that.
Ever get these commentaries where like the people barely even speak on them?
And then there's these long...
Yeah, like long stretches.
Yeah, like we didn't talk...
Why am I watching this thing?
We didn't talk for 10 seconds, and all of a sudden I was like, oh boy, we better
like a
say
stretch.
something. Yeah, but there's those ones where 3 minutes goes by and nobody says anything.
My rule of thumb with commentaries is I give it 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not interesting within the first 15 minutes and there's pauses going on, I'm out. You know?
Yeah.
You got to be fairly patient to sit through some of those things anyway, but that's my sort of rule of thumb these days.
Ich habe eine wichtige Entdeckung über tierischen Magnetismus gemacht. Darf ich eine Messung?
Yeah, Mr. Scheitz is explaining his theories about animal magnetism to the hunters he's met.
Yeah, to 2 American hunters.
And now he's sticking the electrodes into a dead deer on their car.
Ich habe mich sehr gefreut, dass Sie mir behilflich waren.
They're having a good time. And I have a feeling these guys were just sort of plucked along the way, you know, during the making of this movie.
Yeah.
And thrown into this thing. They had no idea what the hell he was saying.
Well, that's how these movies...
And it works. It works for the scene, right? I mean, that's their reaction.
Did you see Prince Avalanche?
I did.
Did you like it?
It was slow moving. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
You know, it had its moments.
Mm-hmm.
I would have liked a little more.
Just more. It was like too slow for you.
Yeah, I mean, they sort of went into the work, you know, almost too much.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the road workers. But you know, I want to see movies like that. You know, rather than the spectacles. You know, I have no interest in those type of stories anymore.
Yeah, I liked Prince Avalanche a lot, actually.
Yeah.
I thought it was...
I should look at it again.
Just if it's one of those things, if you're in the mood...
Yeah.
And the rhythm of the movie connects with where your rhythms are, kind of.
Yeah.
Because if you're not up for a slow-moving movie, it's the worst thing.
Yeah.
You just can't do it. You almost have to shut it off and go,
I mean,
this isn't even a reflection of this movie right now.
yeah.
I'm just not in the right place to watch. Because some people will just be like, that movie sucked. It's like, well, no, it didn't suck. You just were not in kind of...
Right.
On the same wavelength.
Oh, I have no problem with slow moving. I mean, I want like stories about human beings. That's basically all I'm looking for at this point, and that's becoming rare. You look at some of those movies from the early '70s, and I can't even imagine half those movies being made today.
I just watched Drive. He said, "Did you ever see that?"
Yeah, I think I saw it a while ago.
Directed by Jack Nicholson.
Oh, okay. Maybe I was confusing that with something else. I don't think I saw that.
It's about a college basketball player.
Okay, no.
Who's kind of early 70s, kind of primed for the pros, but he's also torn by campus politics.
Oh, okay.
So it's not sure what side he should fall on.
Uh-huh.
So it's kind of, again, it's one of those things. It's moving at its own pace, and the scenes don't always pay off.
Right.
Like that's one thing you see now. Every scene has to pay off in a very literal
way
in movies. You can't have a scene that just doesn't
Yeah, it's just like a slice of life. You know, it's got to be,
Mm-hmm.
you know, adding to the plot in some way, and you know, it's got to all add up to something at the end.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, you look at those movies from the early '70s, and it's I think a lot of them are just slice of life type of stories. You know, they're not too heavy on plot, and you can just sort of go with it. You know.
Now, who do you think are the best of those filmmakers?
Well, I really liked Robert Altman. You know, he's one of my favorites. You know, McCabe and Mrs. Miller, The Long Goodbye,
yeah.
Nashville.
I say Long Goodbye for me is kind of like taking that. There's a type of movie that I hope that the Paul Thomas Anderson movie based on the Pynchon book, Inherent Vice, is. I would bet that
Harkens back to that type
because he's so influenced by Altman.
Yeah.
Paul Thomas Anderson. There's no way you can have a detective story set in L.A. in the early '70s without that being a huge influence on it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So I hopefully that movie will have a lot of that, because that's a great movie that kind of it updates Philip Marlowe for the '70s.
Yeah.
And it's really.
Yeah, Jim Boughton. I mean, it's just like
That's
weird
right.
stuff. How did that even happen? You know.
And
It's
Elliot
like
Gould.
putting Warner Wolf in a movie as a bad guy. Jim Boughton.
Elliot Gould plays Philip Marlowe in it.
Yeah.
Which is hard to think if kids now see Elliot Gould, they think of him, because he became like a punchline at a point. Isn't that crazy?
Well, I never watched. He was Friends. He was on Friends, right? Yeah.
He was on Friends, but he had all those movies that bombed for a long time, and it just became like he became just anybody who's out of time kind of becomes a little bit of a joke to certain people.
True. Yeah.
And it's like.
No, that guy was huge at the time.
That guy made amazing things.
Yeah, yeah.
California Split.
California Split is great.
Such a great movie. Yeah.
MASH, you know.
Yeah, California Split is nobody talks about that movie.
Yeah, that one sort of fell off the cliff.
It's him and George Segal.
Yeah, and I actually saw that because I don't even think it was available on video for a long time. I saw it at the Film Forum. They had a maybe it was a '70s festival or something. But yeah, that was a good one. Fat City. I know Patton Oswalt was a big fan of that movie. I'm a big fan of that movie.
So now we're just to keep people up to the.
Yeah,
I hope people are appreciating the fact that we're just having a conversation here with this movie fading in and out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they wanted us to just be.
I don't think they
narrating.
I don't think they wanted this period.
No, I think they wanted it.
No, people do.
They've been clamoring for it.
Yes.
People stop me in the street. Where is it?
So now Ava's at the diner, and she's getting propositioned by a local cowboy.
And he's just like he's not an actor, this guy, Herzog just sort of recruited him for the role.
Is that...
Yeah, it's true. That's true. This guy isn't an actor.
But see, that's that thing that he... Look, I'm clearly not going to compare myself to Herzog in any way. But when I'm doing these videos and stuff, it's like, that's the fun part about stuff, is just like, just getting people who you think can be exciting for things. It's like, you've been in the videos.
Yeah.
And one of the most exciting things I've been a part of in my professional life, no joke, is you paired who are untrained.
Yes.
With Kevin Corrigan,
yes,
who's completely trained. This is a guy who has been in as many movies. He's been in dozens of movies his whole life, and now you're acting with him.
Yeah.
And what was that like? What was that like for you? Were you nervous going into that? Were you?
When you showed me the script, when I saw the script and what I had to do, I was a little shocked. I was kind of like, what? You really want to do this?
And this is the new pornographers video that I directed. That Mike was one of the people in the band.
Yeah, no, I was honestly shocked when I saw the script, and then when I started thinking about it, like, all right, let's just make it insane, because I think was it in. I don't think it was in the mouth. I think I sort of offered or suggested that possibly.
I can't. I might have been.
Yeah.
It might not. I can't remember. So,
But yeah,
But
it
you-
was a little shocking.
there was a handgun
Yeah,
that he points at Mike,
Yeah.
and then Mike bites down on the barrel,
yeah,
saying like, "Come on, do it, do it," daring him, and Mike's drumming at the same time,
and it was a painted plastic gun that you
which
used.
had paint flecks
So
coming off.
by the end of a couple takes, I had little black paint flecks in my mouth where I was biting down on this plastic gun.
I'm sorry, Mike.
Back to the movie.
here.
I thought this was for the longest time I thought this was Tom Davis.
It looks like Tom
Doesn't
Davis.
it? Yeah.
The guy from the bank just showed up
Yeah.
because they're living in this trailer.
A little beyond their means.
Yeah.
And now the bank is going to shut them down. Just like today.
Because they're just not making. But the thing is, they're working hard,
They are.
but they're gonna just be
They're in over their heads.
operating from a deficit. Well, it's like that thing is they are living the American dream where it's. I mean, in the 30s, the American dream was not what Donald Trump has turned the American dream into.
No.
The concept of the American dream was that you'd have a job and you'd have a roof over your head and you'd have food on the table
Right.
and you would just have a comfortable existence.
Yes.
That was what the American dream actually was. And it's been perverted over the last 30 or so years, like in the 80s.
Well, what happened was after World War II, America was booming, all the way through, the early 60s. And, then, things began to fray with the Vietnam War,
Yeah.
which was not a popular war. And then, like you said, the economy started to go south.
And Nixon, you could say it started a little before the downturn in the 70s. Nixon was the first guy to really make people feel like, I'm going to let you hold on. I'm going to talk about what they are trying to take from you. When up to that point, everybody was very much trying to make sure everybody else was taken care of.
Right, yeah.
Then Nixon kind of sold the threat from within, because up until that point, there was always a threat from outside,
Right.
where it was always the threat of
Cold War.
yeah, World War II into the Cold War, and then Nixon was kind of selling that the middle class, the silent majority, that I'm going to help you protect what's yours.
Right.
And then it kind of became that. Like that to me is the start of of it going south.
But you're right. And then the 80s kicked in, and then it was all, the unions were being crushed, and it's been sort of downhill since then.
Yeah. How much money?
I mean, we had a little bit of, during the 90s with Clinton, with the, the dot-coms and all of that stuff was booming when that was sort of new. But now that's not new anymore, and a lot of them went bust.
Yeah, and that's the thing in this movie. They are not living above their means in a way that it means like they went and broke the bank
Right.
buying fancy cars and stuff.
Yeah.
They're living in a mobile home, and I mean it looks like a motel room that they're living in basically.
Yeah.
They have a television set. They have a table with a lamp, and a couch and a couple chairs and a couple beds. And that's kind of all that they've got. And they're not asking for more than that.
They're closing all the doors on him. That's how Bruno feels. He's made a little sculpture for Ava, showing what's going on inside of him.
besser wird, dass wir endlich unser Ziel erreichen. Nein. Der Bruno werde abgesäbelt als
Bruno's getting pushed aside as if he didn't exist. There you go.
Da kennst du mich nicht mehr. Nein, so nicht.
They do it to you spiritually.
So he's getting his, yeah, he's being broken.
Yeah. He doesn't have the pimps on him anymore, but there are other forces at work.
Das war während der Nazi-Zeit. Die Leine zu ersparen, die Wäscheleine, die man so ausspannt, die Wäsche aufzuhängen. Da musste der
And he really didn't do much acting outside of this movie, did he?
No, I mean, I think this was the last acting. You know, he did the 2 movies. I think. Well, he may have been on certain German things that I'm unaware of. You know, that never made it. You know, into English translation. But I'll have to ask my German friend.
Mm-hmm.
Das war aber sichtbar.
I had to ask him about the pronunciation. On IMDb, the pimps are referred to as, where are my notes? Sutenauer, which is actually a French word for pimp.
Mm-hmm.
The German word, my friend informed me, for a pimp is Zuhälter. I was curious why, you know, he used a French word, but my friend said that there was a French community within Berlin, that it was a little sort of subculture there, and maybe those guys were, you know, actually French pimps. Are you impressed by my research?
No, this is interesting. I'm just listening.
Soll ich nicht sauer sein? Wenn Menschen, wenn sie verachten, also wenn sie groß sind und sich nach Liebe sehen, man
It is a hard thing for these people because America's always sold as the promised land.
Yeah.
And then if you get to the promised land and it doesn't pan out, where are you supposed to go?
Mm-hmm.
Then it's kind of like that's the end of the line.
It can be a harsh environment.
Und so sieht es aus.
It's rough. It's rough out there.
Yeah.
Danach kommt Tod. Und das sind die seelischen Schmerzen. Und so sieht das aus. Und wenn du glaubst, hier in Amerika, alleine zu kommen,
We each turn to our thing. Mike reaches for his beer. I reach for my cookie.
What is your favorite Herzog movie? Do you have a favorite?
Schau mal, und wenn du in einem anderen Schlafzimmer schläfst, dann sind wir doch trotzdem in einem Haus. Das heißt doch nicht, dass wir dann getrennt sind und wir sind doch den ganzen Tag zusammen.
aber ich weiß da nicht mehr.
I've not seen a ton of his movies, but I've always liked Fitzcarraldo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the documentary is just as impressive because
Oh, yeah.
it's literally the same story.
Yeah.
Because a movie about a guy trying to move a ship.
Yeah.
What do you call that? A ship
Yeah. Yeah.
over a hill,
Presented certain logistical problems.
and that's the plot of
Yeah.
Fitzcarraldo.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's literally what they did
Yeah.
to try to make Fitzcarraldo.
Yeah.
They tried to do the same thing. So there's that line where it's like he's no different than the character in the movie at all.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, making anything is
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't it weird? And I'm saying this with 2 more best shows left.
Uh-huh.
Isn't it weird that when you first started in 8 years ago,
Yeah.
so we're talking about, what are we talking about? 2007?
2005.
2005.
Yeah,
Wow, so
yeah.
that's how bad I'm with math. 2005. Could you have ever thought 8 years later you would have still been doing the show?
No, I think I've mentioned this before. I thought I was one and done. You know, I thought
You just thought it
I
wasn't going to
didn't
be a great
make much
fit.
of an impression with you. I couldn't get a good read on you at all. You know, not that I did anything crazy or anything that I thought offended you, but I was just kind of like, oh, okay, that was pleasant enough.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the next guy will be tried out. Because you were very quite upfront that this is
Mm-hmm.
just a trial period. So that was kind of on my mind. Well, okay, I'm going to be tried out, and maybe
Yeah.
somebody else will be tried out too,
Okay, well, moving past that point to where it's like, okay, I'm going to be here every week.
Uh-huh.
For what the show was in 2005,
Yeah.
and then every year it kept.
Well, that's, that's what's been great about it, because it hasn't ever been not fun for me,
Oh, good.
It's been fun the whole time, It wasn't like there were ups and downs.
Mm-hmm.
It was always fun,
Mm-hmm.
And
But it's the work that goes into it
mm-hmm.
is kind of like the thing that's like I feel like that's the hidden part of the show sometimes.
Well, I have to hand over most of that to you and John. You were doing more of the writing of the different calls and so on. I wasn't involved with that. But I would say one little proud moment was when I did suggest, and you lit up as soon as I suggested it. It was during the 2008
Mm-hmm.
when the presidential election was going on,
Mm-hmm.
and I just kind of mentioned, why don't you do an election
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
in
and then-
Newbridge? And you did not hesitate. Your eyes just lit up and
Oh,
said,
that's funny. I didn't even think about it like that.
yeah, and in fact, you even called John.
Mm-hmm.
You were so instantly inspired.
Uh-huh.
I wasn't involved with any of the calls. I'm not going to
but-
take credit for anything that followed from that. You guys did all the calls that followed in it. But it was like one little moment where it's like, all right, that contributed.
Yeah,
and
in a huge way.
And in a huge way, yeah.
But it got
was kind of a
the
small
ball.
thing,
Yeah.
And
then the other thing was you brought in the pig pen thing, which the pig pen
Yeah,
thing has now transformed into.
Yeah, who knew that was going to happen?
I mean,
Yeah.
isn't that the weirdest thing
Yeah.
too? Also, that suddenly it's like playing those pig pen things grew into this. I don't even know how it happened anymore.
Well, it started with the Frankie
Teardrop.
Teardrop.
Okay.
You were talking about that, and then it just so happened shortly thereafter I brought in the Pigpen thing, and the thing with the Pigpen stuff, I almost brought that to a Depravity's Rainbow show, because I just said, this is crazy, I got to bring this in and use it someplace, but I never did. I never did that, and then
We should
I
just make
mentioned it to you.
mention. We should just make mention that Stroszek is now patrolling the trucks, the tractor trailers, looking for Eva, who is
Turning tricks.
turning tricks with truck drivers.
Yeah.
So
Eva's dream is coming apart, and she's reverting to her old German lifestyle.
Got a surprise for you. Look at this.
Spinnst du? Was machst du hier? Wie kommst du überhaupt hierher? Geh weg, mach, dass du wegkommst.
Eva is turning on Bruno. Yeah, this is the beginning of the end.
yeah. So she's going to Vancouver now. She's saying she's going to Vancouver with these truckers, who just told Stroszek to take a hike. So it started with the pig pen. Oh, it started with Frankie Teardrop.
Right. And
Then you brought in Pigpen.
and then somewhere, you never discussed it with me. You just surprised me the next week or whatever, and you were doing sort of those were like the two things you were sort of cutting back and forth between.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
That's how it, and then it evolved from there. Then you just sort of said, what else can I add to this stew,
Then
You started
suddenly,
building a sound stew,
and then now, it's a half hour long, and it's got. I have 5 soundboards going at once when I do that thing.
No, I mean it was great to see, because you're obviously having a great time with it, and it's been wild. Yeah, it's like the show is just going to be interesting right to the end.
So much of when I do those things is I really do them to try to make you crack up out there.
Yeah.
Like I'll try to pull some kind of clip that I know I can hear. If I hear you laugh at it, that just
well,
puts it over the top. for
I've
me.
never sort of had this conversation with you directly, but I have sort of gotten the idea that, a lot of times I am your only audience.
Yeah.
So you don't know how things are going.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, I think, no, you know what's funny, but you don't know how certain things will play. And I think, I don't think I'm an easy laugh.
No,
So-
no, you're not. You're not just like somebody who laughs at anything.
Right. So I think that, like, if you get a reaction from me, I think then you sort of, like, will go even deeper with the thing,
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
You're
Yeah.
sort of, well, and comedians talk about it all the time, about feeding off the audience and all that stuff. So, I do think that was part of my role, and, I think you would sort of, get some sort of energy feedback
Yeah.
right away, right on the spot.
And then
And then
put
you
the
could-
energy back into what I'm
Exactly,
doing.
yeah.
No, that's Mike. That is the tenet of the dark arts. If anything, that is. Jimmy Page was a huge proponent of the exchange of energy from audience and performer, and that comes out of
Yeah.
the teachings of Aleister Crowley.
Oh, okay.
Is the exchange, the transfer of energy.
I thought I was just having
And
a
that,
good time.
no, that's what you're doing. You're actually a proponent of Satanism. Now there's an auction.
Yeah.
Bruno Stroszek just sold over their mobile home
Yeah.
to the bank.
And this auctioneer is amazing. Again, it's somebody they just found in the area. Tom Davis has handed him the microphone. Why do these auctioneers have to speak this way? Is there a rush to get through the sale?
I just think it's that amount of,
Or did it just become like its own little tradition?
like its own little showmanship.
Yeah.
And there has to be some thing of, you'd think it would have to come out of, and I might be completely wrong on this, the idea of differentiating yourself from other auctioneers,
Okay,
maybe.
yeah,
The
yeah.
idea of, like, does that make sense?
No, I
Like,
mean, I guess it is. It's a showmanship, It would be nice if you could understand what the heck they're saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I guess you have to become attuned to these guys.
To me, going back to the laughing thing, when I hear you laugh, sometimes I'll hear you laugh when I start to get, like, when I start to goof on something, and I'll hear you take real, like, you'll take such pleasure in it sometimes.
Yeah.
When all of a sudden I start making fun of something, and then I know I'm going down the right. If I hear you laugh, it's like, look, if you didn't laugh, I'm gonna go wherever I'm gonna go with it. But
Right.
if I hear you laugh, then it's like, all right, I'll go faster or harder toward it then, because I know it's like it's making you laugh, which is kind of that's.
But then, of course, I guess sometimes it backfires, as it did in a recent episode where I laughed at your fancy drink, which I didn't know offended you.
No,
To
I
the
don't.
quick.
Yeah, like I care. It's just, Mike, we're at a point where Starbucks is not that fancy. You can't consider that some sort of
I know.
exotic, just because they don't have one in Bayonne yet. There's no Starbucks in Bayonne?
No, I think there's one actually in the Walmart.
Okay.
Are they in Walmarts or
Targets?
not? No, we don't have a Target. Actually, I think it may be in a Stop and Shop.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I think they're in a variety of places.
Yeah. But it's not a standalone Starbucks.
You'll get it someday.
One day.
You and the Pepsodent guy
Pepsodent, yeah.
and George R.R. Martin.
I thought they had a new Pepsodent guy, and then I think they're just sort of alternating now. There is another Pepsodent guy. What they do is just give him like a lab coat,
Okay.
And this guy isn't a doctor or a scientist.
yeah.
He worked at the company,
Uh-huh.
and they pull him into the whole thing. But now I think there's another guy who does it, and they just gave him a lab coat.
When did Frank Langella leave Bayonne? Like, did he leave? Did he grow up there?
I think so. Yeah, I think
Okay.
that's sort of how you get rated as a Bayonne person. You have to have grown up there. I think even Barney Frank, I think he left pretty early, and a lot of them don't look back. They do the Frank Sinatra thing.
Turning his back on Hoboken.
Get out of town.
Yeah.
Whereas, though, I did hear stories about Jackie Gleason, who dated a woman from Bayonne, and that's sort of the source of all the Bayonne humor in The Honeymooners,
wow.
where they always
Okay.
mention Bayonne. And he apparently would come into Bayonne and he'd shoot pool in Bayonne and hang out, you know? He seemed like a real sort of evil. He was enormous, right? Jackie
Yeah.
Gleason? I mean, you know.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And he, you know, he seemed to be fairly down to earth and still, you know, hang out with the regular people.
The tow truck just pulled the mobile home away, and now Stroszek is standing looking at the empty lot.
That's a great cut.
And now they're
Yeah.
driving in the car.
Mr. Scheitz has a shotgun in his hands as they're driving to their first criminal action. The dashboard has the shotgun shells are there.
Yeah. They're driving a
They've
station.
loaded up. Now this is, yeah, I mean, you can't beat this sequence of events, this conclusion. You can't end the movie better than this.
Stroszek also has a Netto quality to him, doesn't he? From the Uncle Floyd show.
Oh, man.
Remember Netto?
I'm trying to flash back. It's been so long.
So now this old man, this guy's so old. He's holding a shotgun as they go to rob a bank.
No, this is the bank was closed.
Oh, the bank was
So
closed.
now they go to a barber shop.
Barbara's like,
Bruno's having a hard time getting the cash register open. The barber helps him. He's got about $30 there, maybe. 25. Oops, let's count it again. 22.
they're
32.
they're
Come
not
on.
even running
They're
out
not
of
even
the...
running. No, they're not in a hurry, which is, you know, somewhat unusual.
Might be hard to be in a little hurry with this old... Although he's moving pretty good, though.
But watch what this is great. They go across the street. They're gonna pick up a few things.
Yeah. He throws the gun into the station wagon. Now they're going into a market
Yeah.
to go shopping. They have a shopping cart out. This is funny.
Yeah.
This is what you meant by this
Yeah.
movie's funny.
No,
No,
this
this
is-
part is funny.
This is hard to beat. Chips. And a turkey, of course. That may be a little, too much on the American criticism, huh?
Yeah. So now the cops are showing up.
They got Mr. Scheitz.
Darf ich fragen, wer Sie geschickt hat?
And he's kind of coming unglued. He's got a lot of conspiracy stuff going on.
Yeah.
He's talking about all these.
Yeah, I think
Secret.
he thinks they're picking him up regarding his animal magnetism theories, and of course the police are leaving without Bruno. Why'd the police officer get in the back and Mr. Scheitz isn't in the front? That's kind of unusual. And there
So
goes.
Stroszek is running out of the market with a frozen turkey that he did not pay for.
Yeah, he got away with that too. His crime spree is
He's-
been very successful.
yeah.
Except the bank being closed.
He's going back to the garage.
Guess he was thirsty.
You guys had a soda machine. He just got as a half dozen soda cans just came popping out. He was getting into the pickup truck, the old pickup truck. He's got a shotgun, a frozen turkey, 6 cans of soda, and he's driving this tow truck. Werner Herzog probably could have directed The Jerk, if you think about it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like The Jerk, what would The Jerk be like if he... I think he could have done that movie.
You know, I have to sadly admit I've never seen that all the way through either. Is that a... Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, that's
I
a
should see that
classic.
one. Yeah, I know.
Kubrick was a big fan of The Jerk.
Was he?
Yes, he really was. He wanted... Because he had been entertaining Eyes Wide Shut for over 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And Steve Martin was the first person he wanted to play the lead in it.
Uh-huh.
That he wanted... No, I'm serious.
No, I
Yeah,
know.
He
you know.
wanted him in the Tom Cruise role.
Yeah. No, there are surprising when you hear an intellectual who sort of admits to, liking something that you suspect they wouldn't. I always remember Martin Amis talking about Dumb and Dumber. That he seemed to be a fan of that movie, which I still haven't seen that movie either. I guess I should rectify these things.
Yeah.
That's another comedy classic. That's a great shot, that one
That's
right there.
nice, yeah.
The truck with the sort of clouds in the background coming around a bend.
Kubrick also was a huge Simpsons and Seinfeld fan.
Uh-huh.
Did you ever read, there's a 100-page book that the guy who co-wrote Full Metal Jacket wrote about working with Kubrick.
Oh, no, I haven't read that, no.
It's a good
Yeah,
book.
it's
It's
good,
it's about 100 pages long. It just breaks down him. So by the time I get to Phoenix is playing a Muzak version.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting because you just realize the guy was a person.
Yeah.
And it's so easy for these people who are mythologized to become more than human, or not even more than human, other than human.
Well, what's his name? I'm finally finishing Pynchon's latest book.
The Bleeding Edge.
Yeah, and he's like full on. You get every sort of thing that he likes, and he's a huge Simpsons fan, and I guess his voice has been on the show, right?
Yes.
And I guess when he appears on the show, there's a bag over
It's
the
a
character's
paper
head.
bag
Yeah,
over his head, yeah.
Yeah.
And a question mark, I think.
I've never seen those episodes, but my brother, who's sort of more well-versed with The Simpsons than me, has told me about it.
So Stroszek is now driving into town.
Yeah. And this was, again, just, I guess, Herzog was just driving around in this area and found this little sort of, I don't know, how do you describe this? Sort of a tourist trap? Little section.
Seems like an kind of off the highway place that has, like a tourist trap. Has a chairlift and arts and crafts.
A man in a full dress Indian outfit, just standing in a parking lot.
And even having the tourist trap be like underpopulated now. Like even this is
almost got a feel to it as south of the border, let's say.
Oh,
Your favorite
this
place.
does feel like south of the border.
And I've never been there. I've driven by it. And
this is what it's like.
Yeah.
No one is there.
On a grander scale, though.
You go there, and no one is there, and you realize you spend your whole life seeing these signs for this place, and that it's the worst.
It's the biggest letdown ever.
Oh my God!
You couldn't even get a decent meal there. The food was
Are you
all
kidding?
atrocious.
It was
Yeah.
like dust on it.
Wow. I still haven't stopped. I just keep driving through. I see those signs, though. There must be hundreds of them.
Bags, like jars of salsa that have so much dust on top of them. You're like,
Uh-huh.
Wirklich nett. Prost.
so he's now talking to who now?
I think this is just somebody who just happens to speak German.
Mm-hmm.
But you can see he's not really there. And here it comes. This is Sonny Terry. The music kicks in. This is almost, with the music and what happens next is just,
Mm-hmm.
it's almost on the same level as sort of Martin Scorsese when he's he's at his best with his music going.
Sure. Now he's driving the tow truck. He set the shotgun and the frozen turkey in the parking lot. He set the tow truck. Now the tow truck is just driving
Itself.
itself in a
circles.
circle.
That's probably not that easy to do either.
No. No, this is an amazing ending, just in terms of the just him using the music like this.
Yeah.
You know what it is with guys like Herzog? To me, it's almost like, even if you don't like any of his movies, which, I mean, it'd be hard to imagine somebody not liking something that he
Right.
did.
Yeah.
But even if you don't like any of them, it's like, it's still, you have to be glad people like that exist.
Oh yeah.
Like, who could...
Yeah. It's
This is like the spirit of...
Here we come to the games with the animals.
Yes. Now he's in a little...
Tom's favorite part.
Now there's a rabbit jumping on a little fire truck in his cage. Now the dancing chicken.
Imagine a time when this stuff was entertaining. You know, this was like
Yeah.
a real novelty at one time. Getting a bird to sort of dance in place. 10 cents? How much do you think they're charging here? 25 cents.
Yeah, it's
Chicken on a piano.
yeah. He's going through this little it's like a little arcade where there's different games that have live animals in them.
But I kind of love this stuff because you actually saw the thing in Memphis, right? The old hotel
With the ducks.
with the ducks.
The
Yeah,
Peabody.
That
yeah.
thing's been going forever.
Yeah.
This is almost from that era type of entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
And the ski lift, does it look like they ski on this thing? It doesn't even look like it's a skiing place. It's sort of a rough terrain. I guess the whole thing is just to go up and down on this thing. But
Well, this town, and the thing is that this is just using a location.
yeah,
So we should find out what town this is,
yeah.
and I wonder if they promote. This is the ski lift at Stroszek.
Is this really me? Is what the ski lift says.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was also they sort of wanted to get that particular chair. All the chairs have little sayings on them, which is
Mounted to the
weird.
back of them. Yeah.
I wonder whose idea that was. You know, is this really me?
So he's on the ski lift. He's got a frozen turkey with him and a shotgun. Not a good combination. It's kind of a doomed.
The animals are becoming more frenzied.
Yeah.
They seem to sense something bad is going to happen.
Yeah.
First lap.
Because he's turning. There's no one here, by the way. People should realize there's no one he turned the ski lift on.
Yeah.
It was.
Got to give him credit for that. I don't know if I know how to
I
turn
would not have known how to.
ski lift on.
Yeah. He's just riding it around and around.
Sort of a metaphor. And he goes off camera.
And then there's a shotgun sound.
Now we're back and the truck is on fire.
Yeah.
My favorite line of dialogue ever is coming up. This line of dialogue has never been surpassed as far as I'm concerned. Some nice panning.
Yeah, rolling across the... And now panning up to the ski lift.
That was all one shot. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
We can't stop the dancing chicken. So even the dancing chicken has been affected by this commotion. There it is. And this is the scene, Herzog talks about this scene where members of the crew literally objected that this scene was going on as long as it did. They were cursing him out.
Like, why are we still filming this chicken?
Exactly, yeah. They did not understand his process in keeping this chicken scene going as long as they did.
Because now it's just a dancing chicken. Dancing away. Get it?
It can't be stopped. There's some different moves there. It's not just doing one move.
No, the dancing chicken. He's just dancing up a storm. As a duck.
The duck with the drum, yeah.
Duck hitting a bass, a pedal that triggers a bass drum.
The rabbit must go nuts with that siren going off all the time.
Man, two different shots of the chicken. Wider shot. The curtains in it.
Finally.
Yeah. That was the end of Stroszek.
Did you have fun, Tom?
That's a great movie.
Yeah, it is.
That really is a great movie.
Yeah.
It just is not a comedy, Mike. It has comedic elements in it.
Yes.
Plenty of movies have comedic elements in them.
That's true.
No, I do like this movie.
And I hope we get the word out there.
And it's
Make
kind
some
of
new fans for it.
And it's kind of fitting that we would talk about the movie that brought you into the fold on the show as a personality.
True.
Would be, as we wind things down.
Yeah.
Would be what we would talk about. What would be
send off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a sense of definitely a sense of symmetry to that. Well, look, Mike, you being a part of the show has been very important to me, and I thank you for that.
I appreciate
It's been
it,
a great time doing the show with you over the last 8 years.
And I feel the same way. It's been a great ride.
And let's see, who knows what the future brings.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll never see you again. Maybe we'll be joined at the hip more than ever before. Who knows?
Who knows?
There's only one way to find out, guys. Well, I don't know why I'm doing this now on this pre-recorded thing. All right.
Okay.
Thanks, Mike.
Take care, Tom.